What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB, Chicago Cubs versus New York Mets. So in this game, the Cubs have a 49.8% chance to win, and the Mets have a 50.2% chance to win. This is at New York. For pitchers, Keller for the Cubs has an ERA of 3.78 and a WHIP of 1.26. And McGill for the Mets has an ERA of 2.5 and a WHIP of 1.17. So good pitching for both teams. For both of these pitchers, but the advantage in pitching is in the favor of the Mets by a little over 1 in ERA. And so with the pitching advantage and the home field advantage, I think the Mets will beat the Cubs tomorrow. Philadelphia Phillies versus Cleveland Guardians. In this game, the Phillies have a 45.5% chance to win, and the Guardians have a 54.5% chance to win. So this is at Cleveland. For pitchers, Suarez for the Phillies has an ERA of 17.18 and a WHIP of 2.45. And Bibby for the Guardians has an ERA of 4.26 and a WHIP of 1.32. So yeah, that's a very high ERA for Suarez. Now, he's only pitched 3 2/3 innings this year, and I did the math. He has only allowed 7 earned runs this year. So with 3 2/3 innings, that caused once you do the math, basically ERA, it's amount of earned runs times 9 because there's 9 innings in the game. Then you divide it by the amount of innings you pitched. So 7 times 9 divided by 11/3 gets you 17.18. And so comparing that to Bibby, doing the math I did the same math to figure out how many runs he's allowed. He's allowed 18 runs this year. So 18 times 9 divided by 38 because he's pitched 38 innings. That gets you 4.26. So yeah. So I mean, Bibby's definitely pitched a lot more than Suarez, which does lead me to a question, that leads to him. So per inning, if he's allowing, so like 7 divided by, so like Suarez allowed around 2 runs per inning, like close to 2 runs an inning, and then Bibby, you know, like less than that, like less than a run per inning, like a little less than half a run per inning. So per inning, it's better for Bibby. So I'd say pitching advantage is in favor of the Guardians. And so with that, and the pitching advantage and the home field advantage, I think the Guardians are gonna beat the Phillies tomorrow. Boston Red Sox versus Kansas City Royals. So the Red Sox have a 58.9% chance to win, and the Royals have a 41.1% chance to win. This is at Kansas City. For pitchers, Crochet for the Red Sox has an ERA of 2.02 and a WHIP of 1.06. And Reagan's for the Royals has an ERA of 3.79 and a WHIP of 1.15. So, good pitching for both of them, but definite advantage in favor of the Red Sox with being like ERA being like a little less than, like more than, a 1 point difference, between the two in ERA. So I would say the advantage is in favor of the Red Sox. So I would say despite the home field advantage that the Royals have, I think with the pitching advantage, I think the Red Sox beat the Royals tomorrow. Los Angeles Dodgers versus Arizona Diamondbacks. So the Dodgers have a 49.2% chance to win, and the Diamondbacks have a 50.8% chance to win. This is at Arizona. For pitchers, May for the Dodgers has an ERA of 4.36 and a WHIP of 1.24. And Burns for the Diamondbacks has an ERA of 3.58 and a WHIP of 1.38. So I would say definite advantage in favor of the Diamondbacks. Burns' ERA is below 4, which is you want it under that. You definitely want it under 4. I mean, I would say if you want to talk about Mendoza line, 4 is probably a good Mendoza line, relatively. Somewhere between 3 and 4 is like a Mendoza line, I would say, because you definitely want below 4. A lot of the good ones, they're like in like your 3s, your 2s, your 1s, or if they're really good, they're in like the 0 point something. When you get to above 4, that's where you see a lot of concerns. So that's why I say there's a definite advantage for the Diamondbacks in pitching. And so with the pitching advantage and the home field advantage, I think the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers tomorrow. New York Yankees versus Oakland Athletics. So the Yankees have a 63.9% chance to win, and the A's have a 36.1% chance to win. This is at Oakland. For pitchers, Rodon for the Yankees has an ERA of 2.96 and a WHIP of .92. And Sears for the A's has an ERA of 2.93 and a WHIP of 1. So pretty close pitching for both of them. I mean, both have the same amount of wins. Sears has one less loss, and Sears has pitched in like 8 and 2/3 less innings than Rodon. Rodon's done 48 and 2/3 innings. Sears has done 40 innings, but pretty close pitching. So what's going to be the big deal here is home field advantage. Now, Oakland does not have a lot of that these days. I'm not going to get into the reasons why. I'm not getting into that. But home field advantage does not mean as much for the A's as it does for other teams. So, and the Yankees are very good at batting. So I think what will be the biggest thing is the batting advantage, and the Yankees do have that, I believe. So I mean, Britt Rooker's done well for the A's. No one's going to deny that he's a very good player, and Soderstrom's also done well. Wilson, but I think also Aaron Judge for the Yankees, possibly basically an MVP candidate this year. I think with the batting advantage, I think the Yankees are going to beat the A's tomorrow. NBA, New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics, Game 3. So New York is up 2-0 in the series, and they have a 51.4% chance to win. And the Celtics have a 48.6% chance to win. This is at New York, which explains why they're given a higher chance to win. As Bills in Boston be favored and be given a higher percent chance to win. So yeah, it's definitely been an interesting upset these past 2 games. 2 big comeback victories for the Knicks over the Celtics, at Boston. Like, what the heck? I mean, that's big. So I mean, they have a chance to if they win these next 2 games, they have a chance to close it in both games in New York. Like, oh man, if they sweep the Celtics, that will be insane. Now, and so they have a lot of momentum, riding into Game 3 with 2 big comeback victories in Boston. They're going to be in New York. There could be a decent crowd there. With it being the Knicks, that's like the big basketball team there. You know, fan base wise, maybe not quality wise a lot of times, but you know, But basically, like this could be a big, like this could be a big game, and I think with the home field advantage the Knicks have and the momentum they have after two big comeback victories in Boston, I think the Knicks win tomorrow to go up 3-0 in the series. Golden State Warriors versus Minnesota Timberwolves, Game 3. This series is tied 1-1, so basically they split in the games in Minnesota, and this game is at Golden State. Anyway, so Timberwolves have a 55.1% chance to win, and the Warriors have a 44.9% chance to win. So, yeah, it's weird that the Wolves are getting a higher percent chance to win, even though it's at Golden State. That's probably due to Steph Curry's injuries, all the injury concerns with him. So, like, like as far as Steph Curry goes, he's out. Yeah, he's out with a hamstring injury. So basically, you have like Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, like leading this team. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. That's how they're gonna handle without Curry there. Like that's hmm, like that could be a very interesting like. Ooh, how are they gonna handle that? I mean, they lost game two without Curry. They won game one with him. So, but this is at Golden State. So home field advantage will play a role, I think. And Golden State still has a decent sized fan base. Now, a lot of that is bandwagon from the years where they were like going like to the finals like every year. You know, but they probably still have a decent fan base. And yeah, the Wolves are not as banged up as like the Warriors are. And there's for the Warriors, you also have the risk of Draymond getting ejected because like where it's technicals or flagrants. There is a risk of that, especially without Steph Curry. There. To with help with all his threes and stuff. So yeah, this could be an interesting series. Like, but I think with it being at Golden State, I think the Warriors win this game to go up 2-1 in the series. College baseball, Tennessee Volunteers versus Vanderbilt Commodores, game 2. So in game 1, Tennessee won 3-2, so they're up 1-0 in the series. So they have a chance to clinch the series tomorrow, while Vanderbilt has a chance to tie it tomorrow. This is at Knoxville, so Tennessee's gonna have home field advantage. We think that being a tough stadium to play in, and the Whistler, if he's there, won't not as big of an impact. But it's gonna be a really good series. Both are ranked. Vanderbilt being 11, Tennessee being 15. This could be a really good series. I think with it being at Knoxville, I think Tennessee wins game 2 tomorrow to clinch the series. Clemson Tigers versus Duke Blue Devils. All right, so game 2. So in game 1, Clemson won 9-7. So they're up 1 on the series. They have a chance to clinch it tomorrow, while Duke has a chance to tie. So, Clemson, number 9 in the nation. They're the home team. Duke is unranked. Both teams have pretty good records. Both are over 30 wins. Duke at 33-16, Clemson at 38-13. So, pretty good teams. Both have a good, decent chance of making the NCAA tournament. Obviously, Clemson's basically guaranteed to be in, but Duke, based on ranking, I can't definitively say, but I think they have a good chance of making it. Okay, so this could be a really good series, like big series with like stakes and their chances of making the ACC tournament, and then for Duke's case, chances of making the NCAA tournament. So yeah, I think this could be a really good series. And so I think with it being at Clemson, I think the Tigers beat the Blue Devils tomorrow. Louisville Cardinals versus Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, game 2. So game 1, um, Louisville won, so they're up 1-0 in that series. Like they beat the stew out of Tech, like 16-2. That's freaking bad. Like so, yeah. This is at Tech. You know, both teams. They've done well this year. Tech being at 35-15, Louisville 34-15, Louisville being ranked. So I would say even though it's at Tech, Tech's fan base is like their home field advantage. It's not like UGA. It ain't like UGA when it comes to that specific state. Like UGA is going to be the big school with home field advantage. Yeah, Tech's not that. Tech is not a big. They're better at Vanderbilt in that area, but it's not a big home field advantage school when it comes to sports teams. So that's not gonna have this big role as some other schools we have. And Louisville's very good. They're ranked for a reason. I think Louisville wins game 2 tomorrow to clinch the series. Alabama Crimson Tide versus Georgia Bulldogs, game 3. See, yes, I guess after I recorded yesterday's, I guess they at some point decided to change the games today for Georgia Alabama to be double headers. So at the time recording this, that game is in delay, I believe, and Alabama's up 6-2. So if they hold on to win, they tie the series because Georgia won the first game. So yeah, so tomorrow, whoever wins the series, assuming Alabama hangs on to win tonight, or tomorrow if they have to postpone it. So yeah, I think this is at Tuscaloosa, but that's not a tough place to play in for baseball. I mean, it's not football. I mean, basically the way it works, if it's not football, home field advantage doesn't mean much at Alabama. Basketball to a men's basketball to a certain extent, because of the coach there being really good. There was that time period where Colin Sexton was a student there like that 1 year. So, but for baseball, not really. Baseball's not been the big sport there. Never has been. So, I mean, but UGA, baseball's it's been big in more instances than with Alabama, but baseball's still not too big there. Both these are football schools. Like they're football schools. But both are ranked. And so, with Georgia being at, you know, they're they're at number 6, Alabama's over 23. So both are ranked, but decent size ranking difference. I think with Georgia, I think they'll beat Alabama tomorrow to clinch the series. Texas Longhorns versus Florida Gators, game 2. So in game 1, Florida won 8-2, and this is at Texas, one of the tougher places to play in. Yeah, but home field advantage still means something, especially in Texas, which is a big baseball school. Bigger than Florida is in that sport. I think with it being at Texas, I think Texas wins game 2 tomorrow to tie the series. LSU Tigers versus Arkansas Razorbacks, Game 2. So this one in Game 1, that one was that one's tied right now, 1-1, top of the fourth. So can't really say who wins that one. Like right now, like I think, but the home team in this you know, is LSU. Baton Rouge has one of the tougher stadiums to play in. So if Arkansas wins and LSU wins tomorrow, then winner depends on who wins on Sunday. I think with it being at Baton Rouge, I think LSU wins tomorrow. Whether it's to clinch it or to tie it, I don't know. I think LSU wins tomorrow. Oregon State Beavers versus Iowa Hawkeyes. Game 2. So in game 1, you know, let's see, that one was won by Oregon State, who won 9-6. This series is at Iowa, so however much that means, Iowa does have some form of home field advantage. Yeah, but Oregon State ranked number 10 in the nation. They're doing pretty well. I mean, in Iowa, they have a good record for the non-ranked team. Like they have over 30 wins for for a base for unranked team. That's pretty good. So, but Oregon State, they have to go there to win, and with the ranking difference, yeah, I'm picking Oregon State to win tomorrow to clinch the series. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.